The Speaking Statements, the podcast of statements about the 50 U.S. states. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell for alerts for when a new episode is released.
Hello, listeners. Welcome to our newest episode of Season 6 for the Speaking Statements. We have a guest here to talk about Colorado. I want to introduce Miss Marsha Ridquist, who's lived in Colorado for about 12 years, to be on my podcast today. Hi, Mrs. Ridquist.
Hi, how are you?
Good. I have some questions about Colorado that I'm hoping you can answer.
Okay.
My first question is, can you tell me about the Colorado River?
Yes, I can. It's one of the principal rivers in the southwestern United States and northern Mexico, and it's about 1,500 miles long. It's actually the fifth longest river in the United States, and it goes through 7 states and 2 Mexican states. And the name Colorado comes from the Spanish for color reddish because it's got a lot of silt in it, a lot of dirt and stuff. And a lot of people depend upon the river. Like 40 million people depend upon that river. And unfortunately, there have been some problems with it lately because it's kind of drying up a little bit. And people are fighting over it because there's so many people that want the river water. And all the water from the river actually comes from the snow melt in the Rocky Mountains, which are the mountains right here in Colorado. So we get a lot of snow up on top of the mountains. I can actually see it from my house. And then when all that melts, that provides the water for the Colorado River.
Oh, yeah, that's a good answer. My second
Thank you.
question is, what do you like about Colorado and why?
Well, I like that it's drier than Chicago was because the Chicago or Illinois weather that you guys have is pretty damp all the time. And this is kind of dry, which I like. But I guess the thing I like the best is the mountains because they're just beautiful. And I grew up in Illinois, so I never really saw mountains around us. But when I come out here, I see them every day. And they change. They look different colors at times, and we like to drive up into the mountains where it's a little bit cooler during the summer and even super cold in the winter. And we like to do things up there like go dog sledding or snowshoeing and stuff. So I guess it's the mountains that I like the best.
Yeah, that's a good answer. My third question is, what kind of foods are popular in Colorado?
Well, I think kind of just the regular foods that you'd see everywhere. But there are a lot of Mexican people who live in this area. So we have some fantastic Mexican restaurants. And depending upon who owns the restaurant and what part of Mexico they come from, the food is a little different from restaurant to restaurant. And my husband and I like to go out to eat a lot, and we end up eating a lot at Mexican restaurants or even getting like breakfast burritos because we're kind of hooked on it. But you can get Italian and Greek and, all different kinds of foods here, good burgers and things like that. Plus, there's a lot of bison in this area. So lots of times hamburgers are not just made with beef, but they're made with bison or even elk or something like that because there's a lot of wild animals around here. But I think maybe the Mexican food is really, really terrific.
Yeah, that's a great answer. My fourth question is, do you know any slightly odd facts about Colorado?
I have a real odd fact for you. This is one of my favorites. Okay. In 1945, which was about 78 years ago, or 79 years ago, there was a man who lived in the town of Fruta, and he had a farm, and his mother-in-law came for dinner, and his wife told him to go out into the barn and to kill one of the chickens so she could make it for dinner. So sometimes, this is kind of gross, but sometimes when people kill a chicken, they use like a hatchet or an axe, and they cut its head off. Well, he did that, but he didn't do a very good job, and the head didn't come off totally. And usually after a chicken has its head off, it runs around for a few seconds and then it dies. Well, this chicken ran around, but it didn't die. and the man realized his chicken was still alive. So he and his wife figured out a way that they could keep feeding the chicken and keep it alive. And once he did this, the word spread that this man had a headless chicken named Mike, and people wanted to see it. So the man thought, I think I'll make some money. So he started charging people 25 cents, which today would be like around $3 a piece, to come and see the chicken. And believe it or not, that chicken lived for 2 years without its head. And the man made thousands and thousands of dollars. But then the chicken died. The town of Fruita actually made a statue of the chicken. So if you ever go to Fruita, Colorado, you can see Mike the headless chicken.
I did not know that anything about that. My fifth question is, can you describe what part of Colorado, the Colorado part of the Four Corners looks like?
Well, it's kind of dry, and it's in the southwestern part. So as you go farther south, it becomes really warmer and drier. So the Four Corners, I've been down there once. In fact, next weekend we're going down into that area again. It's just it's nothing special. It's just a drier area. There's some desert around there.
Oh yeah, that's a good answer. My sixth and last question is, someone new came to Colorado, what would you recommend?
We happen to live about a half an hour from the national park. And the national park is beautiful because there's beautiful mountains. There's even snow up there all year round. In fact, it's funny because sometimes you see kids from Florida who are visiting the park and they see all the snow and they can't believe they can play in the snow and it's June or July. And there's lots and lots and lots of elk. And in October, there's a thing called elk bugling, and they make this funny noise. The male makes this funny noise, and he gets all the females together, and it's really cool to see. So I would say if you were coming to Colorado, you'd want to see the mountains. And then there's some cool train rides, too, that have been around for a long time. There's gold mines and lead mines and silver mines, and there's all kinds of things to see. But I guess the first thing and the main thing to see would be the mountains.
Oh yeah, that's a really good answer of Colorado. Well, I'm done with my questions. We were glad to have you here to talk about Colorado.
Well, it was fun being here. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Now we'll do my Colorado notes. It became a state in 1896 and was the 38th state. The capital is Denver. It is also the largest city. Next biggest largest cities are Colorado Springs, Aurora, Fort Collins, and Lakewood. Colorado borders 7 states: Utah, Wyoming, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, and Arizona. Colorado is shaped like a box. It is also in the West. Indigenous people have lived in Colorado for thousands of years. Colorado is Spanish for colored red. Ruth Handler was born in Denver, and she was a toy maker. Now we'll do the fast facts with Leo. Go ahead, Leo. It's all yours. What is the state key? It's going to be the Colorado blue spruce. What's the state flower? It's the white and lavender columbine. What is the state bud? That is the lark bunting. What is the state animal? Probably the Rocky Mountain bighorn sheep. What is the state fish? It's going to be the greenbacker cutthroat trout. Okay, what is the state insect? It's the Colorado hair-streaked butterfly. What is the state folk dance in Blacksville? It's the square dance. Bye, Leo. Bye, Julian. I love to be on your podcast. And last but not least, the Colorado Quarter, mountains and words that say colorful Colorado. That's all for today. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Speaking Statements.